Hi, I'm Keely from Retirement Dreams to Reality. And today I'm going to do a video about staggered retirement, because that's what I'm going to be doing in the next few months. I'm in a couple, so solo retirement doesn't seem quite right, although that's what I'm going to be doing. So we're doing a staggered retirement between us. So I'm retiring first, approximately 3 to 3.5 years before Bruce. So that gives me 3 to 3.5 years of solo retirement while Bruce is still working. What about staggered retirement makes it different to a standard retirement if you're part of a couple and you retire together? Well, one of the first things is there's obviously going to be quite a shift in the day-to-day living. So for me, there will be a huge shift in my daily routine, but obviously that's not so much for Bruce. So what does that mean in terms of day to day? Well, for us, that's going to be a change of responsibilities, a huge change in responsibilities, because since I had my brain injury, Bruce took the lion's share of the housework. Bruce took the lion's share of all those additional day-to-day jobs and responsibilities. How nice is that? That's Old Annesley Hall, I think, or Old Annesley Lodge, which is about 5 miles from my house. It's just beautiful. I'm in the grounds of the old church. I'll show you that shortly. So Bruce currently does more housework than me, does sort of the major clean on a Saturday morning, takes more responsibility for bills, probably does more shopping than me. Just all of the things that you do day to day to get you through life. Since my brain injury 10 years ago, Bruce has done a lot more of that than I have. And that will change. That will definitely change in retirement, because the reason he's done that is because I didn't have the energy to do it because I was working. Well, if I'm not working, I will have the time and the energy to do these things. So I envisage from January, or from before that, I will take on all of the housework, or 90% of the housework. I will take on the shopping, the bill paying, I already do take the dog to the groomers, but all of the little extra stuff that I'm sure you can think of loads of it. I'm sure you can think of loads of little bits of extra stuff that you have to do when you're at work. Well, I haven't been able to do that, so Bruce has done it, but I will be doing it from now on. So that's one massive thing that staggered retirement will be different for us. We'll have different responsibilities and different jobs to what we do now. Another huge thing for me will be travel. So I've said all along that travel is going to be a huge part of our retirement. So all of the travel has mainly been driven by me. So because I'm retiring early, I want to start traveling early. I want to start doing my travel while Bruce is still at work. So that's going to be a very interesting one. I'm going to have to travel on my own. and I'm making lots of plans to travel on my own. I've already done some travel on my own. I've travelled trusted house sitters on my own. I've bought a load of camping gear, which I'm going to do a picture of to keep costs low, so that I can travel on my own while Bruce is at work. But that in itself could bring problems. Will that bring resentment? Bruce comes home from work and I'm not there to make him a cup of tea and make him his dinner and just generally be nice to him because he's been at work all day. And the reason I'm not there is because I've chosen not to be there, because I've decided I want to travel somewhere. So that in itself could bring some resentment, I think. Maybe not resentment, but just, yeah, it's bound to impact a little bit the fact that I'm off on my jollies while he's still working. So that's something that we're going to have to think about. And also the cost for travel, because is it fair that I'm going to rack up huge costs travelling while Bruce is still working? Well, I don't think it is, which is why I'm not going to rack up huge costs travelling while Bruce is working. I'm going to do as much travel as I possibly can, as cheaply as I possibly can. Hence the now buying lots and lots of camping gear. So you've got the change in responsibilities and day-to-day routines. You've got how you are going to manage travel when only one person is doing it. How are you going to manage all of the things that the one person is doing and the other person's not? Please remember, if you're enjoying this video, or even if you're not, please help by liking and subscribing. Like and subscribe. I need to say. And then another thing, a huge thing, is the money. One person is still going to be bringing in a substantial secure income, and one person is not. Now, I am going to be bringing in a pension. I am going to have to do a video on this because our plans have changed massively in the last couple of weeks since I got my pension figures, and I am going to be withdrawing my pension earlier, much earlier than I originally was going to be drawing it. So one person's going to be bringing in the majority of the money that we'll use as a couple, and I'm not. I'm going to be bringing in quite a small pension, but actually until Bruce retires, I am going to try and make that last with just a very, very small top up from my investments. So currently we both contribute our own amounts into our joint spending fund, and then we both have our own separate amounts for other things. So I think we will carry that on in retirement. That will be our plan, that will pretty much carry on the way we have until Bruce retires. So this staggered retirement is going to look very, very different to our joint retirement in 3.5 years' time, because it will pretty much follow the lines that our current arrangements follow. And that might work for you. You might decide that the big plans that you have, you're not going to put into practice until you both retire, same as us. So things might carry on more like they are doing now than they're going to look later, if that makes sense. So how are we going to make staggered retirement work? We're going to have to recognise that there could be some areas of resentment. Bruce could resent the fact that I'm going to be jolly as Larry, happy as Larry, jolly as Judy, whatever, because I'm not working and I'm going to be out and about and doing lots of things whilst he's at work. So yeah, we're going to have to realise that could be a thing, and communicate around that. There's going to have to be compromise. There's definitely going to have to be compromise. I'm going to have to compromise and not be away as much as I want to be away. One, because of finances, and two, because of our relationship. I can't be away all of the time. But I think there's also going to have to be a bit of compromise on Bruce's part, that there's going to have to be odd times maybe that he goes away more with me than he might like. If I'm not going away all week because I feel like I need to be spending more time with him, then maybe he'll have to break out of his little routine a little bit and go away with me the odd times at weekends or on Thursday nights to Saturday, whatever, something like that, because he'll still be working Monday to Thursday. So that's quite important. And I think we're going to have to allow time for all of these things to readjust. So allow time for these new roles, these new routines, these new feelings, all of these new things to readjust. So don't expect everything to be wonderfully perfect and happy from the very beginning, and allow time for us to settle into this. I think that's quite important. And finally, as long as we're both focused on the end goal, which the end goal is Bruce will then retire 3 years after me. So keep that end goal, that picture, that where you want to be in sight. I think as long as we hold on to our core values and as long as we keep that end goal in sight, then we should be able to weave our way through those 3 years of one of us working and one of us not. So, yeah. That is our views on staggered retirement. My views on staggered retirement whilst walking around Annesley Older Lodge and Annesley All Saints Church, both abandoned. So it was quite a pretty little thing, little walk. And also, I'll definitely be doing a video on changes to my employment that could kickstart something, and a video about new pension figures and how that's all changing. So much change at the minute. That's Keely from Retirement Dreams to Reality. Thank you for taking this walk with me.